Pretty close to 5 o'clock, huh? Things just happen to work out that way. I hope you're having a good week. We're now the middle of the week. It's Wednesday, and some people call it hump day because Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's the work week. But for some of us, the work week doesn't work quite that way. It's 7 days a week, something's happening work-wise. But that's the business we're in. Once again, Mary Davis is our writer. She's going to be our writer for the rest of the month. And she says, what are we practicing? Well, what are we practicing? Here in the midst of our relative reality, our souls yearn to return to where we came from, absolute love. And that was Mirabai Starr, S-T-A-R-R, from Wild Mercy. And she is an award-winning author of creative nonfiction and contemporary translations of sacred literature. She's written several books: Caravan of No Despair, Tender Wisdom of the Women Mystics, and Living the Fierce, Wild Mercy. And that's what this one's from. Whole title, it's a pretty long title. Wild Mercy, Living the Fierce, Tender Wisdom of the Women Mystics. So there you are, Mirabai Starr. Always like to look up people, see a little bit about them, find out what makes them tick. And what made Ernest Holmes tick was giving Science of Mind, aka religious science, to the world. And from 365 Science of Mind, his guide to each day of the year, on page 64, which maybe that is 64 days into the year. I haven't figured out what the one is, but obviously it's sometime in March. The divine presence leads me on the pathway of peace. It directs my thoughts, my words, and my actions into constructive channels of self-expression. The divine presence leads me on the pathway of peace. It directs my thoughts, my words, and my actions into constructive channels of self-expression. And then Mary talks about, when I taught piano lessons, I could see a special joy in those of my students who practiced regularly. This is kind of interesting. I'll tell you why in a minute. Becoming fluent in a new melody brought a sweet confidence, and it was clear to them that what they practiced, they became better at. The young ones sitting on my piano bench discovered the art of learning something new and the excitement of taking small steps toward a greater goal. With every thought and each experience of this day, we too get better at something. More about this in a minute. We practice always. Where our focus goes, our energy flows. What we dwell on, we create. What we imagine, we attract. What we ponder, we empower. It's good to be aware of what we get better at. Are we practicing gratitude or complaint? Are we practicing peace or provocation? Are we practicing faith or fear? Are we practicing love or judgment? The practices of peace begin by being mindful of our thoughts, our words, and our actions. We can start today by practicing peaceful thoughts, noticing negative thinking about ourselves and others, and gently guiding our thoughts to what is loving, kind, encouraging, and calm. We can practice using peaceful words, choosing ones that have the power to bridge, to uplift, to encourage, to honor, and to mend. We can engage in peaceful actions, exuding calm energy and contributing to the creation of a world we can all share. Peace is the practice of love, and each day we can take small steps toward a greater love. Now, it's pretty interesting that she should say today that what we practice, we get better at. She gives two opposite examples, gratitude on the one hand and complaint on the other. You're going to get better at whichever one you practice. And I guess if you practice both equally, you're going to end up somewhere neutral. But what I'm saying is, it's interesting because Barbara and I, my wife, just came back from a 2-hour class at Lone Star College on meditation. It's actually 6 2-hour classes over the next, 5 more sessions. And one of the things they're having us do is practice 2 different kinds of meditation. One is a sitting meditation where you sit, but you don't have the back support you. And the other one is a walking meditation. And they gave us ways to do this. They gave us a log sheet. And guess what? We're supposed to fill in the log sheet. And I don't know if we're supposed to. I guess it's just for our own purposes. We don't have to share it with the class. So the object of the exercise is to keep practicing these 2 types of meditation over the next week. And then we can see what happens. So I thought it was quite interesting, actually. And of course, what Mary Davis is encouraging us to do is to practice the good things, to practice peace of mind, to practice having positive thoughts, to practice catching ourselves in things that are not productive and immediately switching it to something that is productive. So if you find yourself being critical of somebody, as soon as you realize that you're doing that, what do? Well, you stop and you send them love. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean to say that you have to like people. You have to love people. Now, you can like people as well, but if somebody is being nasty to you and other people and they're being non-productive, then you don't have to like them at all, but you do have to love them and send them love. You know, politics right now, we're polarized. But the thing is, nobody's asking you to like a particular politician. But what we are asking you to do is not to hate that particular politician. You don't have to support them, except you can support their well-being. You can send them love. So how about this in our political arena right now? If you find yourself thinking negatively, and I'm speaking to myself as well, by the way, you find yourself speaking negatively or thinking negatively about a particular politician, stop and just send them love. You can still want them to lose at the election because you're supporting another candidate, but you have to love them. You don't have to like them, you don't have to agree with them, but you have to love them. What does love mean? It means see them as what they are, which is a child, an expression of the divine. It's as simple as that. The affirmations go along with that. Today I practice peace in my heart and in the world. Today I practice peace in my heart and in the world. I radiate peaceful energy to all who come across my path and my mind. I radiate peaceful energy to all who come across my path and my mind. Well, it's pretty simple. I think that's enough for one day. Reverend Willis will be back tomorrow. I will be back tomorrow evening, hopefully around about 5 o'clock, unless life gets in the way. And failing that, well, have a great rest of the day, whatever that rest of the day turns out to be. Have a wonderful evening, whenever that comes, and sleep well. Sleep well. And be kind to yourself in your thoughts and be kind to others in your thoughts. And let's all practice that. Namaste.